Thank you and good afternoon. So how loyal are shoppers to their primary grocery store? That was one of the questions that we wanted to answer when FMI kindly extended the offer to partner on some research on this topic of loyalty. And we surveyed 3,000 shoppers and 200 retailers. And this question was one of the ones we wanted to answer. Now, given we've got a room full of people here that know a thing or two about food retailing, I thought we might get your perspective on this and compare that with what the shoppers actually said. So we gave the shoppers a scale of 1 through 5, where 1 was not loyal and 5 was very loyal. And by a show of hands, I'd like to get a quick poll of the audience here. So if you'd be so kind, if you think the average loyalty of the shopper to their primary grocery store is between a 1 and a 2, please raise your hand. Okay, that's very reassuring. No hands there. If you think it's between a 2 and a 3, please raise your hands. Okay, we've got a reasonable number of people there, thank you. If you think it's between a 3 and a 4, please raise your hand. Okay, that seems to be the most popular choice so far. If you think it's between 4 and 5, please raise your hand. Okay, a few hands. I have 2 words to describe you people: optimistic and correct. So here are the actual responses. So consistent with what all of you said, a majority of shoppers did give it a 4 out of 5, but there were a healthy number of people that gave it 5 out of 5, and the actual answer came out as just over 4. So congratulations, food retailers. Job done. Take the rest of the year off. Well, maybe not, because we didn't just ask that question, we asked a lot of different questions. One of the questions we asked is, would you prefer shopping at one store if you could have all your needs satisfied? A very healthy 58% said yes to that. Then it gets more interesting. Only 19% of people said they actually only shopped at one store. And then only 7% said they allocated more than 90% of their budget to one store. So there's oftentimes a say-do gap with research. What the consumers say versus what they do can be a little bit different. But I think the key here is what is highlighted in the red text there, where I can satisfy all my grocery needs. And that really does get to the heart of this topic of loyalty, because loyalty is not a card or a program or an initiative. It's not Steve or Susie and their 5 people in the loyalty department. Loyalty has to be earned by satisfying the needs of customers better than other people can do that. But there's 2 parts to that. Firstly, you need to understand what those needs are, and then you have to connect it with actions that will actually satisfy those needs. Now, if all shoppers were identical, that would be relatively straightforward, but they're actually not. And shopper needs are very different by very different factors. If you look at this, we've just pulled out some research insights here. You've got the baby boomers on the left, you've got the millennials on the right, and you can see there's very different shopping behavior. Now, what makes this especially tricky for retailers is that most retailers do not just serve one or the other, you serve both. And you have to take care of that baby boomer generation because they're a large part of your customer base, but you also need to be laying the foundations to satisfy the needs of those millennials as well, so that when they're the largest part of your customer base, you can still be competitive. Now, that would be tricky enough, understanding all those different needs, but those needs also change. And this is an example, it ties to the Okada example, it ties to what Chris was talking about. Where is your preferred place for purchasing the following products? And we gave them the option of stores or a variety of different options here. And you can see by different departments where things change. Now, the good news is the majority of people still want to shop in stores, and we know the store is an asset when it delivers a positive shopping experience, and that is core to your offering. But you can see here how this is changing by some categories. And what we found was that there's a small portion of customers who are migrating a lot of their purchases online, but there's a much bigger portion of shoppers who are going to stick with stores in most categories, but in some categories, as you can see here with the non-food center store categories, they're willing to migrate online. So if you end up in that situation, if you don't offer e-commerce and your customers want it, you could end up competing for a shrinking pool of customers and a shrinking pool of sales dollars in some categories. And usually that's not a good strategy for growth. So I'd like to propose a new generation, a next generation of loyalty, and to view loyalty in 3D. The first one is loyalty as a strategy, as that previous example showed. Understanding your customers' needs, making those big strategic decisions. Understanding the customer-driven growth opportunities by customer, category, and store, and allocating resources appropriately. The second one is loyalty as an outcome. of your daily decisions. You all make hundreds, if not thousands, of daily decisions. How do you make your price, promotion, assortment, space, marketing, and store operations decisions with the loyalty of your customers preeminent in that decision-making process? It's not easy, but there are ways to do it if it's done in the right way. And then finally, we can't forget about loyalty as a program, but we should take a broader view of that and think of it not just as a two-tier discount program, but a differentiated piece of value, and it has a customer ID so you can understand your customers. And if you do that, then you can design some new innovative programs. Like I saw some colleagues from Hannaford were here, and you just announced your new loyalty program the other day. I commend you for that. That sounded like a very innovative program that you have just launched. And if you do implement that approach, then you can reap some very significant rewards, because having a large and loyal customer base is possibly the best competitive advantage you can secure in the marketplace. You can enhance your loyalty programs, personalize marketing, deliver customer-centric merchandising, and foster shopper-driven supplier collaboration. And if you wrap all of that in a loyalty strategy, then that is how you can actually deliver next-generation loyalty in 3D. Let's get it right in food retail. Thank you so much.